It's hard to imagine, but there are plenty of notable critically acclaimed games like The Operative, No One Lives Forever, and its sequel, A Spy in Harm's Way, that can't be bought on modern storefronts in this day and age due to rights issues with the franchise, even though the demand is most certainly there. Yet a game, and yes, I am using Dr. Evil air quotes, they are literally written into the script here, a game as infamously vilified as Plumbers Don't Wear Ties ends up with not only a digital release on modern platforms, but a physical release, and on top of that, this version here, in general, this so-called definitive edition, is loaded with all sorts of behind-the-scenes content and some quality-of-life improvements. I know what you're thinking. Who actually asked for this? Well, you'd be surprised. Plumbers Don't Wear Ties, despite barely qualifying as a game, or whatever form of entertainment it's trying to be, has garnered a small but strong cult following for being one of the weirdest pieces of media ever. I myself became enamored with it through Angry Video Game Nerd's video, probably like many of you did. This is back before he made a movie that damn near wrecked him. Actually, it might have fully, but that's not here or there. Just watching that video, I wondered, how the hell could such a thing ever come to light in the first place? Would there even be a re-release to explain how it even happened the first time? A way to play it besides using YouTube annotations? That was actually for real, by the way, and how I experienced it on my own in about mid-2012, if you give or take. You can actually use a Chrome extension to restore annotations and try it yourself. The people at Limited Run Games thought so, and they eventually acquired the rights. The full story is broken down in Good Bad Flix's Exploring Plumbers Don't Wear Ties video, and I suggest you give it a watch if you haven't already. Before this, the game was originally only available on the 3DO. The game was basically intended as a PC-only release, as an experimental thing, but its original PC version from 1993 was a very, very, very limited release that eventually got found 24 years later. The 3DO version came out on September 30th, 1994. The road to this re-release has been rocky to, well, say the least. The definitive edition was announced by Limited Run Games themselves at E3 2021 for Switch, PS4, PS5, and PC with no indicated release date, just a generic coming soon ordeal. About a year later, Limited Run Games stated that the game would launch in late 2022, and it would also arrive on Xbox Series platforms. Late 2022 came, and nothing happened. Another year later, Limited Run Games then announced a September 2023 release date. September 2023, nothing happened, at least on the digital front. Physical pre-orders for non-PC platforms opened on September 22nd, 2023, and they closed about a month later. Physical shipped Q1 2024. A digital release was planned on December 8th, 2023, but suffered some slight delays, one more slight delay, to March 5th, 2024. No more delays, they said.
Read my lip.
Except if you wanted it on Steam. Like me. There wasn't even a Steam page up, but there were pre-order pages for the PlayStation and Switch versions, with a countdown clock and preload options respectively. Xbox store page went up on time, but Steam, nothing. There still isn't a Steam page as of writing this. Today is March 8th, 2024, and there's no indication, nor even a reason as to why or how long the delay will be. So I caved in and got the PS4 version, which is where the footage is from. This is not how I wanted it, but to keep the schedule along, my hand was forced. I'm not going to spend too much time on the game itself, since if you've been on any gaming corner of the internet for any amount of time, you're probably already aware of what Plumbers Don't Wear Ties is. But for the uninitiated, Plumbers Don't Wear Ties markets itself as an interactive romantic comedy that is neither romantic nor funny for the right reasons. It's basically a choose-your-own-adventure ordeal that involves you having to get two LA singles together, John and Jane. Both are being pressured by their mom and dad respectively to get married and have children for their sake. By chance, the two meet in a parking lot, a bunch of shenanigans happen, some involving her potential sleazy boss Mark Thresher, and yeah. I do mean sleazy, by the way.
Take your damn clothes off!
To describe plumbers don't wear ties in ways that haven't been done before is like trying to find a copy of Kuon for a decent price, a complete copy in this day and age. But I will say, it's nonsensical, wacky, offensive, and probably piss some people off. So much so, a trigger warning is placed at the beginning. As I mentioned on the stream, the people who would probably need that are probably not be interested in this re-release in the first place. Despite this, it's pretty much the same game as before, but the shower scene is not uncensored. The censor noses with faces and whatever else they put on there in the original 3DO version are still there to block out the naughty bits as if you didn't enter the code on the 3DO version. And before you ask, no, you can't enter a code to unlock it here, at least on the PS4 it seems. It seems ridiculous as how not only the nudity is very tame and more tasteful compared to the Wing It Cloud visual novels once uncensored, essentially PG/PG-13 brief levels for this game, believe it or not. But you can buy other games on the same consoles that this game is on, at least in this day and age, that have more in them. Like the Mass Effect games, GTA 5, Metro Last Light, Witcher 2 and 3. Oh, and how could I forget, in the case for PS4, the one game that damn near caused Angry Joe to lose his mind, The Last of Us 2.
Hey, 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 oh, whoa! What are you fucking? I am so goddamn sexy!
What's weird though is that the scene where Jane strips for Thresher, if you select that choice, doesn't have the censor faces over it. It did if you didn't enter the code in the 3DO version, but here, all fine apparently. Not to mention, the opening video introduced from the 3DO version is missing the part where Jane is in lingerie, another thing triggered by the code in the 3DO version. So yeah, Definitive Edition and missing a scene. There's some irony, like the GTA Trilogy Definitive Edition missing some of the music from the original versions.
Uh-oh, I screw up. Could you give me another run?
Despite that, there are some quality of life improvements. For starters, menu navigation in the actual game is much improved. In the 3DO version, you had to wait until the narrator finished describing your choice before you could move to another. You also no longer have to wait for it to finish the narration before you make a selection. Furthermore, once you access scenes for the first time, they will be available for you to access at any given time. There's even a little map set up like plumbing pipes. It's not the easiest to navigate, but it gets the job done. Furthermore, when revisiting scenes, you actually skip frames to speed up getting to scenes you haven't accessed. You can also switch between the remastered pictures and the original pictures. The remastered pictures have been AI upscaled and they look nice, but some of the faces feel off. Like when Jane and John first meet, her face looks different. Maybe from farther away, only so much could be done, but still. There's also border options since the main game is in 4:3 aspect ratio. I appreciate them not forcing it to 16:9, but I don't appreciate when the border turns itself back on. Not to mention, there's no separate button to turn it off, even though L1 could have fit this purpose, as it doesn't seem to be used in the main game, but I digress. Scoring is still there, by the way, and it's just as useless as it was in the original game. So yeah, despite a couple gripes, most of the changes do help make this the best way to play this game, but this wasn't the only thing they could do to get people to buy this willingly. So they added another mode in, Plumb the Depths. Plumb the Depths is a short little dungeon crawler inspired by that old Windows 98 maze screensaver, only shrouded in more darkness. Your goal here is to get all the collectibles while avoiding Thresher. You'll collect plungers, you can hold up to 3 at any given time, and fire at him when he shows up. If he gets you, you go back to the starting point or the main menu. You're given a choice. There's also a kitty you can interact with. Any collectibles you unlocked before you get yeeted by him remain unlocked. What are these collectibles? Well, you can view images from the main game. Shower images are still obscured at this time by black circles over the naughty bits, so if you wanted to see Jane's boob and butt,
You get nothing!
And for the ladies who may or may not have wanted to see John's hairy but not really hairy ass at the same time, you also get nothing. So either way,
You lose! Good day, sir!
and ma'am for the ladies. Beyond that, there's a video gallery with all sorts of behind the scenes stuff, including an interview with the actress who played Jane, Jean Besson, an interview with Bimmy himself, James Rolfe, which should have been titled What Was I Thinking for Shiggles, behind the scenes about the AI upscaling of the images, and more. Beyond that, there are unused and deleted scenes, but there's no voiceover with any of these, it's just the pictures. You're not even given any context of these scenes, which would have helped with understanding where they would have fit and why they got cut. In addition, there's a model viewer where you can view a 3D replica of the box of the original game, and there's a couple bonus secrets with the chicken mask and cat images. The latter will be needed for a trophy/achievement. The graphics are what they are. The upscaled images, with a few exceptions, like the first meeting of John and Jane and the ending where you last see Jane's face, has her either looking like Britt Baker or Jenna Elfman, take your pick, look pretty good. And you can even switch back to the original if you want. You have 5 border options if you want to fill the remaining space on the 4:3 aspect ratio. You can't change them on the fly in-game though. They at least work for the most part. The whole UI itself also has that Windows 95/98 feeling to it, and it actually works well given when the game originally came out. In general, there isn't really too much actual graphics given the nature of this game, but what is here works well enough and gets the job done. There's a bit more to the graphics in the Plumb the Depths section, but your mileage will determine depending on how much you enjoy the Windows 98 Maze screensaver. It definitely matches that feeling very well, but it's too dark at times. I know it's supposed to be like a dungeon crawler, but even then, it's a bit much. Thresher can sneak upon you when you least expect it and scare the hell out of you, and the areas do look too similar in parts, when actuality, it's pretty easy to get lost when finding all the remaining collectibles, especially when you only have a few of them left. It's just a lot bigger than it actually seems, is the whole gist of it. There's no map here either, and yeah, like I said, it's because the map is not as big as it seems. In spite of this, you can complete this part in about 30 minutes or less, if you really know where to look. The sound also is what it is. One interesting thing to note is that you can't switch between the 3DO and PC music. You only get the PC music. Some of it did appear in the 3DO version, but some of it didn't. Like the elevator music from the initial job interview scene, and the chase music. That's another thing that really would have made this more of a definitive edition. The menu sounds are simple, but they also work. There's even sounds now when selecting things in the actual game. The Plumb the Depths part gives you footsteps that sound as you would expect, and plunger sounds work as they should. There's some decent sound effects when you hear some of the music playing in general, and it all really speaks for itself, to be honest. The other sounds pretty much sound like they do in the original game, so what you saw back then is what you get here. Everything is at least synced up properly like the PC version compared to the 3DO version, where pictures could come in faster before the audio finishes. They still couldn't fix that issue though with the sound alternating between channels, so yeah. Try this when you get a chance. Move your earbud or headphone, where the audio comes in, off, then slowly move it back on. It's like you're doing an audio equivalent of a Kubrick longshot with the audio getting louder as it gets closer. That's kinda cool. Voice acting is the same as what it was from the original game, and it is what it is. With the amount of bonus content here, there is a decent amount to keep you coming back for at least a day. It's like DVD bonus features, though I wonder how many of them will eventually find their way to YouTube. Hell, Good Bad Flicks' video on it is up on his own channel, so we'll see. Either way, there's a decent amount of bonus content for old fans and newcomers wondering what the hell it's all about. Plumbers Don't Wear Ties Definitive Edition takes the original disaster piece, adds some new improvements, a lot of bonus content surrounding the game, a separate short but sweet mode to unlock it all, and it does well enough to bring this game to modern platforms. However, it is missing some things that would really make it the true definitive edition, like switching between 3DO and PC soundtracks, still censoring the shower scene, but the Jane Dominatrix scene is fine, and the scene of Jane in lingerie in the 3DO video bit. Also, the Plumb the Depths mode, while nice, is a bit short and looks bigger than it actually is. And this really is one of those instances where your mileage will vary. Any cult follower of this game, like me, will probably pick up this release in some form, be it physical or digital. Hell, some of us may buy it twice since they delayed the Steam release, which forced some of us to get it elsewhere for now. Hell, probably some fool might just buy every version of it right now. Xbox, Switch, PlayStation, and PC when that version hits. I mean, hey, if that's you, good for you, but I think 2 is more than enough for me. Would have been just 1, but, yeah. But that's only for the die-hard followers of this game. Any non-fans of this game, I can't recommend you buy it. Not at least that right away, even though it's only 20 bucks. I would say watch a Let's Play of the original on YouTube, or play the original PC version. You can find it via a cursory web search. Try it, and if you're curious beyond that, I would say give this version a go. Otherwise, just literally play anything else. I mean, literally anything else. Okay, except maybe some of the real garbage like Superman 64, Big Rigs, or Hong Kong 97, but that's beside the point. Just play, yeah. Look, this release is not going to be for everyone, and neither is the original game, but that's beside the point. Beyond that, everything else you've heard about it is probably true and then some, but I think that's what makes this game unique in the first place. Since this release mostly succeeds in what it's set out to do, I'll be nice and give this a 3 out of 5. Believe me, if I was talking about the original game in context, it would be different. But it's not, so yeah, 3 out of 5.
Thanks for watching. If you like what you saw, click the big red button below to subscribe. Check out the other links in the description for more cool stuff, and check out the playlist on screen for more content. See you in the next video.